Hey guys, Sergeant Nathan here. Today's going to be a bit different of a format. It's going to be mostly directed at my content creator friends, and it's going to act partly as a pitch as well. But I do want to leave it public for everyone here on YouTube to get excited about what's coming. So for those who know me and content creator friends, you probably wondered what my deal is. Like, why am I just I want to be content for you. And if you ask me for lyrics, I'm happy to give them. And like, why don't I follow my own advice for building up a YouTube channel or Twitch channel? Why don't I lead by example? Well, I do want to lead by example, just not as an entertainer. This is not my opportunity. This is your opportunity. So, what's my master plan, as the title suggests? Well, to borrow a meme and to parody it, is to make friendship great again. And VR is a great avenue for that. So if you want to get straight down to where I discuss VR and the plan for VR, or general outline of the plan for VR, you'll see a timestamp in the description. But if you want to know what I mean by that and the why, well, here we go. So I grew up very blessed in the family I grew up in. And I'm not just talking about financial. We did okay. We weren't rich. But, I grew up in that kind of idealized nuclear family, sans the white picket fence. we had a chain link fence. But it was a large part of it was thanks to just my father was a very principled man, and he wasn't just present, he was involved in our lives, and honesty was a big thing. I remember we'd find wallets and we'd track the person down. There was one time the bank machine started spitting out extra banknotes, and my brother returned them, and they're like, "Oh, if you ever need a loan for anything, just say. You're a very honest person." So, that honesty has served my family well. It served my dad very well in politics. He's not like a sore thumb stuck out there. He's like a healthy thumb amongst sore fingers. So, for me, I've been more about the like my grandfather, the private sphere. But another big thing was when doesn't matter when the media the cameras were off, it's just family and friends hanging out. I just realized that these are actual friendships. This isn't just for show. Like my family would have these lifelong friends, all from child all the way up to adulthood to even to today, and now us kids, us generation, hanging out with the kids from that generation. And of course I know for everyone that their own family seems to be the norm, and they're just like, everyone else is strange. But I just start to realize I grew up like we're strange. to have these lifelong friendships. And as time went on, especially once social media came out, it's just like, does anyone know what it means to be a friend anymore? Or is it just, you're totally my BFF, and then a week later you hate the person's guts? Like, can relationships still exist where you can disagree with someone and still enjoy their company, and still be committed to that relationship? So over the years, I'm wondering, I'm racking my brain, how do I mend this messed up idea of friendship when everyone, especially now, is so boxed in? And then something happened, and it's just over a year ago today, April 1st, 2018. So I'm in VRChat, and some friends are trying to interact with me and punch. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I've never wanted anything so bad in my life to interact. And even though you ultimately miss out on the actual physical touch portion or the smell and whatnot. Just, it's so much more than, like, if you're going to compare it to like a Discord video chat or something like that, to actually be like interacting to that level in VR. Oh, it was such a game changer. And so I started to realize that this could be it. This is how you could, start building back actual friendships again, not just these kind of surface optics level friendships. So breaking it down into it, if you're actually friends with someone, you want them to succeed. If you ever heard one of my little pep talks, success comes from opportunity, skill, and grit, they all meet. So when I started getting into VRChat back in December 2017, well, I figured that out for myself. All I wanted to do was just help people out with their own success story and make friends while I was at it. And it was in this, in being a friend, that I wanted to lead by example. As I figured out and refined my own talents and skills, and I wanted to do the same for others. And so I was able to accomplish that through the talent shows I hosted, and for them to know that they weren't alone. And as I went through tough times later in 2018, wondering if I was making a difference, I needed the grit to keep moving forward. And it was in the friendships along the way, not just in here, but outside of game as well, that empowered that grit. And so through the birthday parties I've been planning lately, I hope that I've empowered you guys in return. So now for the opportunity part. This is why I'm revealing my master plan today. So VR is now where mobile technology and the internet were at the turn of the century, and where social media was half a decade later. The technology is accessible to make it work well, but there are two issues that need to be resolved first to make it successful. One, interface, and two, monetization. So let's go through history a little quick. The internet. So turn of the century, late 90s, you just had this huge infrastructure built up, not knowing what, like you had this broadband, the possibilities. Everyone was talking about how great it would be one day, but what you had, the initial web, it was all just placeholders. People just trying to buy up .com. I gotta have my company presence on there, and that was just all placeholders. And so you had all these investors throwing millions at these startups, hoping something would stick, hoping something was the next big thing, and just doing that without a plan was just asking for failure. So then that .com bubble burst. And then just a couple years later, so like 2001, you had the Microsoft tablet PC. So again, the technology was already getting in place. We had the broadband there. The Wi-Fi was starting to pick up, but they just totally butchered the interface. Just look up an image of it. You'd have to use the pen to click the start menu. It was not an interface made for a new platform. And for monetization as well, they butchered that too. I mean, they clearly had enough money to fund it, being Microsoft, but they were marketing it to business users rather than it being a mass market thing. So that failed. Now move ahead again, half a decade to the middle of the aughts, 2004, 2005, 2006. So you had MySpace and you had Facebook. And again, investors throwing money, hoping, it sticks. But you had one, MySpace, horrible interface, just a mess. It reminded people of the old messy GeoCities of the turn of the century. And they just threw on ads as kind of an afterthought. Versus Facebook, clean interface, intuitive interface, and they had plans to monetize from the get-go and how to turn that information into money. So here we are again with VR. Investors throwing millions of dollars at startups, hoping they don't miss out on the next big thing. And just like with the internet and mobile technology and social media, everyone is sharing their dream of what it should or would be like one day, but no clear plan on how to reach that dream and no clear timeline. So this is where I come in. I have the skill, I have the grit, and I have the opportunity now as well. So I do have a plan and I do have a timeline. In the next 12 to 24 months, there will be one dominant VR social platform that will unify the VR experience. VR needs an interface made for it, not an existing one shoehorned into it. On the hardware side, Oculus found this out very early. Well, not that early, but yeah, they quickly found out that Xbox One controller it was not conducive to the VR interface, so they quickly swapped it out for the touch controllers. So now at the software side, there are 3 potential VR platform candidates that have most of the monetization and content supply chain set up and ready to go. They all still need to work. So there's VRChat, there's Sansar, and High Fidelity. So look below in the description. I've linked some VODs that I did on Twitch of each of those 3 going through the new user experience with the interface. So all 3 have key aspects in the UI and monetization that are missing and are causing growth to stagnate. You can check the charts. They're all kind of flat right now. The goals thus are tailored to address the weaknesses of each. I'll be helping one of these 3 or filling that a 4th option as a consultant or as a CSO in achieving these goals. Throughout, I want to keep getting feedback from you guys. And if anything is getting in the way of this nice, smooth content supply chain, I want to know about it and I want to help resolve that. So once we do that, then all of us win. We all get the VR platform we've dreamed of. People are able to make a living doing what they love. Investors are happy. The company is succeeding. And I get the joy of noting that despite the doom and gloom poured out en masse in the media, I did my part to make the world just a little bit friendlier. So I hope you guys are excited. I am, and that you'll join me on this journey.